All right, today we're jumping into a story that feels like something straight out of an old fable. It's this incredible tale about finding a little bit of light in, well, the absolute darkest of places. We're going to explore the story of a figure known as the Virtuous Duke. And really, this whole thing, this entire story, it all boils down to one fascinating question. And it's a big one, because it kind of challenges everything we think we know about the infernal. Can a demon actually be good? Okay, so to get into this, we first have to meet our main character, if you will, Barbatos. And let me tell you, he's a figure who just completely breaks the mold of what you'd expect from the infernal hierarchy. He's a duke, all right, but he's unlike any other. So you look at his resume, and the power he holds is just immense. We're talking about the seventh demon in the Ars Goetia, a great duke who commands 30 hellish legions. I mean, this isn't some low-level imp we're talking about. This is the real deal. Infernal nobility with enough power to start a war. But, and this is the interesting part, it's right there, with all that power, that the typical demon story just stops, and our mystery really begins. And this is where you really see how different he is. You know, you'd expect his peers, other dukes of hell, to show up in these terrifying, monstrous forms, right? Things designed to make you lose your mind. But Barbatos? He shows up in this approachable, almost dignified way. He even has an entourage of 4 noble kings with him. It's like he just doesn't fit the mold at all. And to make things even stranger, these old esoteric texts point to a very specific time for his arrival. He only appears when the sun is in the sign of Sagittarius. Now that adds this whole other layer of mystique, right? It connects him to the stars, to cosmic order, not just some random chaotic whim. And trust me, the fact that it's the sign of the archer, that is not a coincidence. So his whole vibe is one clue. But the next piece of the puzzle, well, it might just be the most important detail of all. It's his appearance, his surprisingly human-like form. And look, this isn't just some clever disguise. It seems to be a core part of who he is. He shows up as an archer, wearing regular human clothes. It makes him seem so relatable, almost familiar, which is the absolute opposite of what you'd expect from a demon of his power. And think about it. The archer is a symbol of focus, of purpose, of skill, not chaos. So you gotta ask, why that form? So his appearance itself becomes a kind of message. It's a massive hint that maybe his nature isn't completely cut off from the realm of light. Maybe there's a lingering connection to a past that, well, maybe wasn't spent in the abyss at all. And that right there, that brings us to the absolute heart of this story. Because to really understand Duke Barbatos, we have to stop looking down into the infernal depths and start looking up, way up, towards a celestial origin. Okay, get this. According to the lore, Barbatos was once an angel, a member of the Holy Order of Virtues. And these weren't just your run-of-the-mill angels. The virtues were basically stewards of the natural world. They were the ones who helped facilitate miracles and were tasked with nurturing human faith. Their whole job, their entire purpose, was to create harmony and inspire goodness. Now that little detail, that's the key to this whole thing. So here's his journey, and it's a tragic one. He starts as this holy angel of harmony. Then comes the fall, the event that just tears heaven apart, and he's cast out. And then he reemerges as a Duke of Hell. But look at the title he keeps, a virtuous duke. That's not just a crazy contradiction, is it? It feels more like a memory, a title that carries this undeniable echo of what he used to be. And that is the key to the whole mystery, that approachable form, his unique character. It's not an act, it's a remnant. The lore is basically telling us that even after the fall, Barbatos still carries a part of his original angelic self deep within him. So how does this leftover angelic nature actually show itself? Well, we see it most clearly in the kinds of abilities he has, the strange and frankly, surprisingly helpful things he offers to people. I mean, just look at this list of gifts. He can grant you the ability to understand what animals are saying. He can help you find hidden treasures. And maybe the most shocking of all, he helps mend broken relationships and bring estranged friends back together. These are not the actions of a demon bent on corruption and destruction. These are acts of creation, of understanding, of harmony. These are the skills of an angel from the order of virtues. You know, his reputation for being helpful is so strong that over time, folklore has started comparing him to selfless figures we all know, like Robin Hood, or even the nature spirit, Jack of the Green. And it makes sense. These are figures who help people, who reveal secrets, and who try to bring a sense of balance and justice back to the world. And this isn't just some campfire story either. This really unique portrayal of him is incredibly consistent across some of the most important historical grimoires you can find. We're talking about ancient texts on magic and demonology, like the Lesser Key of Solomon, Wyer's Pseudomonarchia Demonium, even to Clancy's Dictionary Infernal. For centuries, people studying this stuff have been documenting the exact same thing, this strange, virtuous demon. So, what are we supposed to make of all this? At the end of the day, the story of Barbatos is more than just a weird footnote in demonology. It's really a kind of parable, isn't it? A lesson about who we are at our core, and whether that essence can survive. He's basically a living paradox. He stands right at the intersection of heaven and hell, and his very existence suggests that maybe those two realms aren't as black and white, as cleanly separated as we like to think. He's a fallen angel who never quite let go of the light. And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from his story. He's this powerful testament to the idea that your original nature can endure, that it can persist. It suggests that a fall from grace, well, it doesn't automatically mean that every last trace of goodness is wiped away. And that brings us right back to where we started, with a question. The story of Barbatos really forces us to rethink our neat little boxes for good and evil. Because if some original virtue can survive even in a fallen being, then what does that say about what good and evil really are? Are they these two opposing fixed points? Or is it more of a spectrum? A spectrum where maybe even angels and demons can find themselves somewhere in the middle?